Truly bad Pokemon don't really exist anywhere. It's a line coming out of left field from a backstory of one of the funniest characters in Pokemon. Jarring as it is, it makes the player think for a second, because you realize the game is no longer telling a story, but that it is directly talking to you. It is telling you something vital to the theme of the game, that there are no bad Pokemon, just Pokemon that do bad things. This is the kind of empathy that sounds so simple, yet when applied to more realistic situations, it might not be as true. But because it is a game like Pokemon, something direct and aimed at kids, it gets its message across so simply, and it fills you with hope for the world. We see this in the backstory of our beloved Guildmaster, then Igglybuff. Wigglytuff is known to be a naive ball of happiness, and never would I have thought that his story could have moved me so much. All of this in a game called Pokemon Mystery Dungeons Explorers of Sky, a great spin-off where everyone in the world is a Pokemon. Constantly, this series drops crafted lines that purposely feel like they are talking to you directly. Everything that happens in this game is trying to shock the player by making them relate to the childlike fictional world to their own. We start off our story when our gang is called into a meeting with Guildmaster Wigglytuff. During that, Wigglytuff drops an item called the Defend Globe, which is only to be used by bug-type Pokemon, but for some reason, it is very special to the Guildmaster, who rarely cares for anything but eating and having fun. We then flash back to when Wigglytuff was young. As an Igglybuff, he lived in a cozy home. He was also a strange kid, just like he is today, but he was often ostracized and bullied within his own town. One day, he was tricked by said bullies into entering a forbidden forest, where it is rumored a monster lives. Igglybuff then gets lost in this forest, and has a fateful encounter with this beast. But this monster has a name, Armaldo, a bug-type Pokemon who Igglybuff is quickly drawn to because of their naivety. Armaldo is quickly annoyed by the ever-estranged young Guildmaster and his shenanigans, but as time passes in their isolation, he comes to quietly grow fond of the little kid. And Igglybuff, in turn, also starts to really like Armaldo. Since he is such a weird kid, not many other Pokemon treat him genuinely like Armaldo does, not even his parents. Armaldo reveals himself to be a full-time adventurer who has been hiding for some reason. Time passes and they start to go on adventures with each other. Most notably, their first adventure, they find a Defend Globe. And after this, Armaldo decides to take Igglybuff under his wing as an adventuring apprentice officially. They continue their adventure with each other, escape death with each other. They start to care for each other, and for Igglybuff, he grows up with Armaldo. But this is all a fleeting dream, as the truth has yet to be unveiled. Now, I forgot to mention that the young Guildmaster has a secret, and that is that he has godlike powers and is possibly the strongest Pokemon in existence. Whenever Igglybuff gets angry, he can blow up a crater-sized area and cause earthquakes. And with this power, him and Armaldo conquer many dungeons and have the time of their lives. One of such of these adventures is Stopped on a Road. They are stopped by the cops, and Armaldo has been apprehended. Armaldo's past has caught up to him. Armaldo is a bad Pokemon. He is an outlaw who has done horrible things and is set up to go to Poke Jail. Yet, he still took the risk to go out adventuring with Igglybuff and show him the world. He put himself in danger by coming out of hiding. But at least he had fun. Armaldo is taken away. The only person who Igglybuff ever cared for is taken away right before his eyes, over a heartfelt OST called Defend Globe. Back in the present, Wigglytuff leaves us with one final message, that there are no truly bad Pokemon. An emotional end to a story of such a fun character. Armaldo knew what he did and was prepared to go to jail. The young guildmaster was distraught and was obviously about to kill everyone there, but Armaldo stopped him, not wanting the kid to be just like him and put in jail for his crimes. Armaldo was a criminal and an evildoer, but he was still a Pokemon and cared for Igglybuff. The final message actively stays on the side of the outlaw, having empathy for the criminal, and in a way is a criticism on the justice system. And man, I love anything that's anti-government, so hell yeah, great job, Pokemon. Although Armaldo may not be a bad Pokemon, the message takes it a step further to say no Pokemon are inherently evil, that Pokemon can do many bad things constantly, but they had to become that way somehow. Or maybe they do things for a better cause, or maybe they do something that they think is right. This is a constant theme that is displayed in the main game, but is only truly stated here in this backstory. We see this in many characters like Dusknoir, Team Skull, Dialga, and Grovyle. But yes, even you, Drowsy, even you. But wow, what a simple and beautiful theme for such a wonderful Pokemon game. Surely the game won't directly destroy this one truth it tries to tell? Well, it does. Let me introduce to you Darkrai, the post-game evil of this game, who is known to be nothing but pure evil. No motive, no good intentions, and he's quite literally the embodiment of evil. And yes, he is a Pokemon, and yes, he has always been this way. Pretty much, he is revealed to be the mastermind behind everything bad in this series. There seemingly is no redemption for his character, although the character's try is futile. Just the idea of Darkrai directly opposes one of the main messages in this game. So, is it now that there are no bad Pokemon except for Darkrai? That would make the message seem hollow. In a game of such hope, it just wouldn't make sense. Which is why so many players play this game, they might beat Darkrai and they leave this game with a sour taste in their mouth, especially since Darkrai essentially gets away at the end. But, if you thoroughly played this game, you might have found something that interestingly explains this ending. See, when Darkrai runs away, he has stated to have his memory wiped completely, just like the main character of our series at the start. And, if you do some digging, you can actually find Darkrai and recruit him onto your team. And he seems to be a pretty nice guy now? Darkrai has had his memory wiped now, and he's like a completely different Pokemon. Because in this life, he is not a bad Pokemon. Darkrai shows behaviors like honor, trust, and value and kindness. This proves that Darkrai was never inherently a truly bad Pokemon. He came to be that way because of something in his life unrelated to his true nature. Even the embodiment of evil Darkrai is still a good Pokemon at its core, and it only takes a little bit of effort from the player to make the main message of this game just that much stronger. Now, when putting this view in reality, obviously I know that there are bad people, but I hesitate when saying that someone is truly a bad person, and I think that this difference is what Pokemon is trying to get at, especially when saying someone like Darkrai is not a bad Pokemon, him of all Pokemon. If you live someone's life completely, or you magically knew every single aspect of someone's life, every single thought that they ever had laid out in front of you, I think you can find some good in them, or a time when maybe it wasn't all bad for someone, like Darkrai. But that also brings up the case, can someone become someone who is truly evil and bad? Pokemon says no. Someone or the identity of someone is a culmination of all their lived memories. It cannot truly be bad if they were once good. Although, I do like to judge people based on their actions, because in reality, you can only have so much empathy, and you can only try to understand someone so much. Giving in too much when trying to help someone can become a betrayal of oneself, but at least Pokemon wants you to try and make that attempt, and empathize with all. And that is what Pokemon is about. Because in the end, Armaldo wanted Igglybuff to live for more, to not be like him. His actions defined him and he was sent off to jail. If Darkrai had a chance to become a good person, then maybe I do as well. Because of course there are outlaws in this world. They are caught and punished. But, truly bad Pokemon don't really exist anywhere.